All right, we're live now. So I'm going to go ahead and continue posting on Sacred Jedi Text.
Sacred Jedi Text posting
I'm going to steal one of your things of Bantha milk and bring it over here.
You do that. We just went live. Alright, so I'm waiting for Bantha milk. Oh, there we go. I see us. Oh, I hear us.
Me.
There we go. Had the wrong audio over there. Okay. Tom says not seeing the link.
See, there we go. I just turned the mic off. Hopefully it's...
Cameron says sounds good.
Okay, cool.
Is there any echo, Cameron?
Cameron, is there any echo? I don't know, man. I don't think there is.
Echo, 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 echo. She says no.
Cool.
She is the best.
Thanks, Cam.
You are the best.
Simply the best.
Simply the best.
Better than all. And like that, we get a copyright.
We do. Pew! We're shut down. Because we
boy.
sounded too much like... Who sang that song?
That's, that's going to annoy me. Simply the best. I should know that. I watched Schitt's Creek. Simply the best. Tina Turner.
We sound just like Tina Turner, too.
Didn't you just watch the Tina Turner show, too?
The musical? No,
Yeah.
we didn't. My son wanted to go see it.
Oh, that's right.
Avengers Hockey says, sounds horrible, just stop talking. I think he's saying that, my talking is horrible. I talk good.
You're a good talker.
I good talker.
I'm very proud of you when you talk.
I'm very disappointed that this splitter didn't work, though. Angry. Hulk mad.
We'll figure it out for next time. But you know what? We got it working, and that's really what's important.
Yep, we got it working. So we can go and start doing stuff.
Yeah, let's talk Star Wars.
Star
Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
All right.
Oh, it looks like my dad is actually listening this time. He said, I said Tina Turner 2 seconds before you did. Dad, you are watching the right show. So last time,
oh no!
Remember when I said, "Oh, my dad's watching"? I don't know
Yeah.
if he actually watches. I think what happened was he watched he clicked the first link, and then we had that issue where my computer shut down and we had to re-up. So he was watching that, and then it ended, and he didn't realize that it went to one of our other clips.
Okay, so then he was watching an old episode.
He I got out of our episode last time, and I had text from my father like, I told you had sound issues before the other guy. And I'm like, I don't think we had sound issues. So, yeah, thanks for watching, Dad.
Thanks for watching.
You are actually watching the right one this time. We didn't have the same technical issues we had last time. So here we are.
Here we are.
But we haven't even started the show yet, right?
No.
So maybe we should,
let's start the
get
show.
started with the
Yes.
actual show proper. Here we go.
Intro music.
Wait, that's not it.
What? He's no good to me, Daddy.
Intro music. Intro music.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
Bounty hunting is a complicated
Gets
profession.
more complicated by the week, Rob.
You know what would make our podcasting much easier? If we had designated computers to stay here.
Right, so we wouldn't have to reset it up every time we came back.
Yeah.
And maybe we can get on our corporate overlords on that. have our sponsors send us out some stuff.
Right. Well, once we need to get a lot more viewers and listeners before we actually start making a profit on the show where we can afford to do that type of thing. So tell your friends.
Looking at you out there.
Tell your friends. Tell your friends out there. Bantha Milk
That's right.
Podcast.
But yeah, we're back again for another episode.
We're back.
Avengers Hockey says this better be a good show. I'm sitting in a parking lot at hockey practice.
Yes.
Oh boy. Well, that's a lot of pressure to put on us.
It
man.
is a lot of pressure.
You've been on this show, so you know the kind of content we churn out. So we'll do our best here.
It'll be good content for us.
Yes.
So,
That's really what matters.
That's
right?
all that matters. Yes.
Now it's been such a crazy day that I actually even forgot to bring Bantha milk with me.
You did. So it's okay because I ran out.
He saved the day.
Because first off, I don't know if you know this or not, but the Powerball's up to like $19 quintillion.
Dude, I've been meaning to buy. I never do, but I'm like, man, I could really use that much money.
So we don't normally, but we've been like the past 6 drawings. Yeah. So
when's that, tonight?
Tonight is another one.
I should have
So
bought.
depending on when we get done here, you might be able to get one on the way home.
Yeah, true. Or else maybe you'll win and we'll have a brand new Bantha Milk
We
headquarters.
will. Oh my gosh, we could have
state of the art.
State of the art. I build a whole. We'll be in New York City.
We can spend thousands of dollars a month on advertising,
Yep,
buy
we
a
sure
billboard
could.
in Times Square.
We'll have a billboard right next to Caesar's betting billboard, which
like
is
it.
on every other one. Then there'll be Bantha Milk.
Oh,
right
that's
in the
right.
middle
With the Caesars, it's the Caesar Sportsbook app, right?
Yeah.
With I've always wanted to hear that commercial in a different state.
Okay.
Because I'm sure because I know there's that one where it's like, I made Caesar Sportsbook app for you. And then it cuts away from him.
And
People of New Jersey.
People of New Jersey.
Home of the Turnpike. And they said, what's the other one? They said they love their gardens. In New
yes.
Jersey. And I'm like, what did you do? Google our state name
Our state
and
motto,
just go with
yeah,
that?
and just go with it. They're like, let's see, what can we make them say real
Gardens,
fast?
sure.
Something with gardens, go.
Yeah, we have lots of gardens
We
here,
have-
let me
yes.
tell you. Anyway.
Anywho.
Aside from that.
So I had to run out to get my lottery ticket, and then when I ran out, I was like, ooh, let me get some new cold Bantha milk because I was also running out of Bantha milk. So this was one that fit my fancy by the name of it.
Fit his fancy.
And also by the price. Some 6-packs of craft beer, just for a 6-pack or even a 4-pack, like they were $30.
$30?
$30. 30.
Wow.
This was 13 for a 6-pack.
See, when I see a 13 for a 6-pack, I go, wow, that's kind of pricey.
Yeah,
for a 6-pack.
yeah.
you
I was
know?
like, okay, that's my limit. But
all right.
some
And
of
what
them
do
are
we
like
got?
30.
What is this? What do
So
we got
this
going
is
on here?
Kate May Brewing
Don't
in
overthink it.
beautiful New Jersey.
Yes,
Kate May,
indeed.
New Jersey. Oh, you know what's funny? On their Instagram, because I like their Instagram, because I want us to take a picture and then promote them as well for all of our listeners.
Let's do it.
But I want to read to you their description. New Jersey's largest craft brewery located in America's oldest seaside resort, Cape May. So they're not
descriptors.
Yeah, they're not the largest craft brewery, but they're the largest craft brewery
That
in
is
Cape
also
May.
located.
Yeah, in Cape May. I was
like
like,
it.
wow, you got yourselves a very good niche.
Listen, we are the largest Star Wars podcast in Cherry Hill.
Yes.
And that is a fact, my
That
friend.
is a fact.
Oh, boy. So we
That
do
is a
have
fact.
Cape May Brewing Company
Right.
Mop Water.
This is mop water.
there it is. That's
It
right.
is 5 spiced ale. I have no idea. I just saw mop
What
water.
spices?
I don't know.
Oh, warm spices and German
Okay.
malts. All right, can we synchronize this?
Yes,
you think?
let's
Ready?
synchronize
Hold on,
the
I gotta get my
opening.
fingernail in
Yeah,
there.
this
kinda
was like
tough.
way down.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
There we go.
That's
Double
nice.
pop.
Nice.
Very nice. And okay, take a sip. But then I have another gift for you as well.
Uh-oh. Oh, that's not bad at all. I like the spices.
There's some good spices.
Yeah, that's nice for a
So,
cool night.
You know me. I'm a doer.
I know
I'm a
Rob,
crafter.
he
I
is a
like
doer.
I like to craft stuff and do stuff.
It's true.
So I did this for us.
Uh-oh. Rob's full of surprises. Oh, goodness gracious. Look at this Bantha Milk podcast mug. Wow.
And if you don't like a beer mug that way, I also have these beer mugs.
Look at this swag. We need a
So we have some swag here.
a gift shop, I think.
I know, right? These were very, very. So it was interesting. There's this, Michael's Craft Store. They have this engraving gel type thing. So I put a little sticker on it.
Oh, so you literally bought like a kit to do this.
So I bought from the glasses are from a very expensive place called the Dollar Store. I just put a whole bunch of head on.
Yeah,
mine.
I'm
This is
wondering.
very
I was
disappointing.
watching you.
Yeah, I'm
Go
very
ahead and show
disappointed.
the head. Show what
I
kind of
am-
head you got
I
over
am
here.
very disappointed with
And then
myself.
look at this. I'm not
Nick-
even a beer drinker.
Nick poured it right. I just gave myself a little
I
tilt.
listen. All of a sudden I hear it like you're pouring milk. Just
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't tilt it enough and poured it way too fast.
Listen, it's been a long week, and we've only had school twice this week
Yes.
already, so I don't blame you. But
So, yes.
in our nice Bantha milk
with all
mugs,
this head on it. Yes. Cheers, my friend. Yes.
All right, so we encourage you at home to grab yourself a glass of Bantha milk.
Yes.
It was, and we're back once again talking Book of Boba Fett.
Book of
today,
Boba Fett. Chapter
right?
2 came out today.
Chapter 2. It was
Chapter 2,
the Tribes of
2.
Tatooine.
The Tribes of Tatooine.
And this was one that actually Rob and I got to watch together.
Yeah,
for
we
the
watched
first time
it
in a very
together.
long time.
Yeah.
Because The last time we did that was for probably Mandalorian Season 2, and that was over a year ago.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if we did for Season 2, because I know that was around the time when, I don't know, the world seemed a little more like this again.
Yeah, back to this again.
Right. But so who knows what's coming next, but all we know is we're here in person in Bantha Milk headquarters, and we're going to talk Book of Boba Fett.
We are. That we are. We have, I didn't even look at any Star Wars news because I just wanted to get right into it. You know, like I wanted to show off my fancy glasses.
The glasses are nice.
Talk about, so the reason I found the mop water wasn't even because of the 5 spices, but it just made me laugh because it made me think of how the episode started when she's walking into, I want to keep calling it Jabba's palace because until we know that he put a new sign on the front door that says Boba's palace.
Sure. Yeah, now that you come to think of it, it's not like it has like a title. Like
No.
It's not like a name of the place. It's just It's always just been Jabba's palace.
Been Jabba's palace, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
Boba's palace.
Boba's palace. So she comes walking in, she being, what's her name? Fennec?
Fennec.
Yeah,
Shand.
Fennec walks in. So, yeah. So she's, Fennec's walking in with the,
With the bad guy.
prisoner, the bad guy.
The assassin.
The assassin.
Of
that
the Order of the Night Wind.
Yes.
Which I'd never heard of. Is that like a thing they pulled from...
It's from what I could tell, it's brand new.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, and it's brand. And this is in the show. They say, never heard of them before, and then Fennec goes, "It's because they're overpriced. You're paying for the name."
Right.
So because that's the way of saying, this is why we haven't heard of them before, because they're very top notch, and
Right.
nobody has been willing to pay their fees that we know of in any of the Star Wars universe yet. So this is what we know.
Sure. It kind of reminds me of the Faceless Men from Game of Thrones. It has
Okay,
that
yeah.
sort of a vibe.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of weird. I mean, I guess we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but not really, right? So the big thing with this assassin is that, like, the weird. First of all, the droid's name is 8D8.
88. Yes.
Rob and I always watch with the captions on. Helps to catch stuff. But 8D8 is their little droid in Jabba's palace, and I dig him. I think
He was the droid who was torturing the other droids when Jabba was in charge.
is that the same one?
That's the same one.
All
yeah.
right. I didn't know if they
Yeah.
were going for that or not. All
Yeah,
right.
that's,
Interesting.
that's the
It
word
sure
on
does.
the street.
I mean, it does look like him now that I'm thinking about it.
That was an 8D8 droid.
Okay.
So whether it's the same one or not, who knows? They're in the same palace.
I mean, I think we can assume that if they're using it, they're probably leaning into that being the same one.
And also, did you notice that the opening scene when she's walking in was the same shot as R2-D2 and C-3PO
Yes.
walking in?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. They again leaning into the nostalgia thing. That they're going
there's like
for.
a couple of shots that is like identical from Return of the Jedi
Sure.
in this episode.
And that is kind of cool because a lot of the nostalgia so far for Star Wars has been about the original Star Wars. We get the nostalgia for A New Hope. And a lot of talk about hope and all this stuff, but like we're getting a lot of Return of the Jedi nostalgia here. And I
Yeah,
know that
throwback stuff. Yeah.
a lot of people that I know, Return of the Jedi was like the one, for
their
them,
number one
that
movie.
that
Yeah.
big one. So, but it, when she's walking in with this Order of the Night Wind, and they kind of say like, "Oh, he fears no man," and he's got the sword up against his throat, like, but it reminds me of like the loophole from Lord of the Rings, where it's
Okay.
like, I cannot be killed by a man, and then she takes off her helmet and she's like, I am no man, and it's like, oh, you're a woman, that means I can die.
Oh, then you can kill me. Yeah.
It seems kind of, but like this dude who fears no man fears a rancor.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
why?
thinking the same thing. I was like, okay, you're not
You're
afraid
about to
of
die
death.
anyway.
Yeah,
like
you're
you
not,
have a sword to your throat.
Yeah, it's not like falling down the Scarlac pit where you're alive for 1,000 years as you're slowly being ingested.
Right.
Like the Rancor's just going to rip you in half. So
Yeah.
you're going to die quickly, whether it's a Rancor or it's by a man. So that made me laugh. I fear no man, but I'm deathly afraid of Rancors.
I've got rancor phobia. I'm talking to my therapist about it. We're getting through it. I've got some exercises, but I'm just not there yet.
Yes.
All right. So I'd really appreciate it if you didn't dunk me in the rancor pit. Too
Right.
bad. So sad.
Too bad. See ya. And now, did you notice he said Ichuta?
Ichuta. Yeah, that's one that they say an awful lot. We've
It's
heard
a
that
bad
before
word.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not nice words.
No, yeah. So one of the when they're on not Endor, the Empire Strikes Back, C-3PO, they're in Cloud City, and a door opens and another protocol droid walks
Right.
out, and says "Ichuta" to
Right, and he goes,
C-3PO.
"How rude."
He goes, "How rude!" Yeah.
Right.
So we know that it's a curse.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And
so
then,
don't
and then
repeat
Boba
this.
goes
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I spared your life, and you dare curse me."
And you dare curse me? Yeah. So he was not happy about that.
Yep.
Also, one of the other things that people noticed is that there was the switch to open up the trap door has been relocated.
Okay.
Apparently, when Jabba was there, he punched a button.
Right, I remember. Yeah, he did a little.
That's when Luke, and the same thing, same chute that Luke goes down.
Yeah.
In the cave or in the Rancor pit, when the door opens up, same exact window set up. So people, so much. Well, if you're gonna send them down to the same Rancor pit, you better make it look the same.
Well, maybe it's because Jabba was so slovenly that he could not get up, so they had to build him a custom button.
Mm-hmm. So they built him a custom button that he could punch and not get up.
And
then somehow somebody said that Bib Fortuna had just a switch right next to his thing. And then this one now, Boba Fett is inside a Rancor mouth. She pushed a little hidden button inside a Rancor mouth. Like there was a Rancor statue. She pushed a little button inside of there.
It's like in the original Batman series with the head, the bust that you pull back and you press the button.
That open up the
Batcave,
the fireman's ladder.
That's
to go
right.
down to the
That's
back.
right, because it had the fireman's ladder. I forgot about that, man. Oh boy.
So
Simpler time.
that button has been relocated 3 times. Even though, as we find out, when he drops him down into the Rancor pit, the door opens up, the guy panics, and
nothing.
No Rancor.
Yeah, we all knew it. We were all because that was the point of that scene. Like for us all to go, did they get a new Rancor?
Right.
What happened? Isn't the Rancor dead? Oh yeah, the Rancor's dead.
Oh yeah, the Rancor's dead.
And again, that's more nostalgia for us too, because we're like, oh, get it, haha. He's
and
not
even like who was it that was it Rebels when they freed the baby Rancor?
I think you're right.
Yeah, and they took the baby Rancor to Jabba's palace, but that took place before the Rancor of Luke Skywalker.
That was not Rebels. That's right. That was the Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars, the last season of Clone Wars.
Right.
They go and they had a mission to save this baby Rancor, which then they found out was going to Jabba's palace, which whatever, they didn't know at the time or whatever the deal was. But Mochi or Chochi or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, so he was maybe like the father or the mother of the Rancor that Luke killed.
Poor guy.
But Fennec does say, what does she say in the first episode about a menagerie?
Menagerie
of
we have not seen Jabba's menagerie yet, right? All we've done is heard about it, and we saw that one of them died, right? So I don't know. I just sort of like a Chekhov's gun sort of thing. I don't think they would mention a menagerie if we weren't.
If we're not
going to
eventually see more, yeah. And then when they open up the empty cave, they open the empty cell where the Rancor was. All that's in there is the rat.
Yeah, a little rat.
There
was a couple little rats going on throughout this entire episode.
Yeah, so the twins,
they were petting like using it to get the sweat off their head.
He was using a rat as a towel.
I was so confused. Like I thought maybe he's gonna eat it, and that's kind of the point of this. But no, he just did this and then just tossed it aside.
Yeah. And at one point, you had to watch it in slow motion, but at one point he's holding the rat out, and the rat like bites his finger.
Yes, I noticed that too. He's like holding it, it's like trying to get away.
Yeah.
What an interesting. That there's got to be some sort of imagery,
right?
Obviously, there because like the Hutts are not known to be good people, right? So
the gag is a callback to the rats crawling through Jabba's dungeon in Return of the Jedi, which were subsequently identified as tattoo rats. Later in Boba Fett, the male Hutt is using a tattoo rat to mop his sweaty, slimy brow. So apparently people started naming them tattoo rats after we saw them walking around in the beginning of Return of the Jedi. So more throwbacks to Return of the Jedi.
Because apparently even rats in Star Wars, just by being on screen, can get their own Wikipedia page.
They can. And they get a whole new name, kind of like
Lothcats.
Porgs. The running of the guy with the ice cream maker.
Will Hood.
Running of the Hoods. Yeah.
That's right.
So it's like that guy didn't have a name. The rats didn't have a name. They were just like, oh, this is just a dirty place, so let's throw some rats in here. And suddenly everybody starts naming them tattoo rats.
Tattoo rats.
Yes.
I like it. But after the assassin of the Order of the Nightwind cleans his trousers a little bit,
yes,
he manages to let slip that the mayor sent
yeah.
him, which is still up in the air right now. But
right, yeah.
we meet the mayor. They go to the mayor's pad. They walk through it's Mos Espa, right?
Mos Espa.
They're walking through the streets. Once again, there's this bureaucratic BS they have to get through that I think is so funny that they keep doing with. They did it with like Solo when he was like trying to join the Empire, and they do it here where it's just kind of like, I know this is Star Wars, but there's still red tape you got to get through.
You still have to get through the red tape.
I don't see your name on the list.
Yeah, that guy was great.
Yeah.
It was almost like Impractical Jokers.
Yep.
I'm like waiting for them to cut away to another side of 3 other guys just laughing.
Just 3 aliens. Like
Yeah.
no. Now tell him that you need to polish his helmet. Oh man.
Ask him where his sister is. Go ahead, say something.
I never knew I needed an intergalactic Impractical Jokers until this very minute.
So
they walk up to the crib with this dude on a leash basically, and they're like, "Hey man, we have your guy," and the guy's like, "All right,
the mayor's kind of busy.
Let me see what I can do."
Who are you?
And then what's the mayor's Mojodomo's name? Do we remember? Did we get his name yet? He shows up. While Rob tries to look through his notes here.
Yeah, trying to
that
find
guy
him.
shows up, and he's basically like, "Hey guys, I didn't see you get here because you're not enormous and fat, and you don't make slaves carry you on a litter."
Man. And that's
I
love the litter. Everybody, that's the big joke of the season. Well,
Yeah.
Where's your litter?
Where's your litter, bro?
Where's your litter,
You're
bro?
not nothing without.
Yeah. How
without
come you
a
don't
litter.
have a litter? How come you use your own legs and you don't just have somebody carry you around? What's going on? Lazy?
Yeah, and it does strike me as a bit odd that in a place like Mos Espa, which is not necessarily known to be the most safe place in the world,
Sure.
armed people can walk right into the mayor's office. Walk past the front and just walk right into his room.
Well, yeah, and I love how there's one little desk, and then you just walk right around, and then boom, you're in the mayor's office.
Yep.
Yeah.
And his office is very empty.
It's very
There's
empty.
not a lot in there.
No. I'm still trying to find. It just says Mock Shazzy's Major Domo. His real name is David Pasquale.
Okay.
But they just keep calling him his Major Domo. So
They like that
we're back
word.
to that. They like that word. Yes. So he just bypasses the very abrupt front desk person.
I've met
do you
that
remember?
guy before, for sure.
I know.
That guy works everywhere.
Making copies.
Making copies.
Making copies over the watercolor. What are you
boy.
talking about? Yeah. So, and then he goes right into the back, and then I love the mayor's like, yes, and you are.
Yeah.
He does it
totally
too.
unfazed.
Yeah. He's like, you know who I am, right?
Now
yeah,
the
okay.
mayor is in a Thorian.
Yes, Ithorians.
which
we
is-
did a special.
Yes. On our spotlight, our
Spotlight
character
dance.
species spotlight
Yep.
dance. They've been around for a very long time.
They sure have.
They were very famous or very big in the original, extended
Mm-hmm.
universe. We've seen a Thorium Jedi before.
Yes.
They've got that interesting body structure where their mouths. They have 2 mouths.
2 mouths, one on each side.
Yeah, and they this one was interesting though because I've never seen one. First of all, that had a instant translator.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that when I was doing my research for the Spotlight Dance, that a lot of them did have, because they speak Ithorian,
Right.
And so then they have these electronic translators that go around the back of their neck. It was interesting, like you were saying, how I just cut you off, that it was instant because you hear and then the words right away. So I was impressed with that.
Yeah, and what's cool about it too is that it's not, and obviously it's not a real machine, so that you can do whatever you want with it. But what I like what they did with it is that they didn't make it like a Stephen King sort of drone, somehow this translator translates inflection and tone and stuff. And
Oh,
you
yeah,
know what I mean?
okay.
It sounds like
Yeah,
a
or
person
Stephen
talking.
Hawking. It's not Stephen King.
Yes,
Stephen
Hawking.
Hawking.
My bad, different guy.
I'm like, oh, what Stephen King movie are you going to be referencing? I'm like, oh, and then I was like, oh, okay.
Wrong Stephen.
Wrong Stephen.
But yeah, anyway, it's like it translates it, and then it's like this smooth talking kind of.
Yeah.
Almost like it kind of reminded me of the Matrix, like someone from the Matrix, talking. Maybe it's because Pagan and I just had a Matrix marathon.
Okay.
We watched the new one, so we had to watch the first
you had to watch
three.
the first
Did you
three?
watch the new one? one?
I did watch the new one.
What'd you
So
think?
then, so I was very confused in the beginning. Well, I guess we should have started this whole episode by saying spoiler alert.
Yeah, we usually do that, don't we? So halfway through the
Wait,
first
you know
part
what?
of the season.
Hold on. We forgot all the beginning stuff also.
Oh wait, we didn't even do our
no, we didn't
social
do any
media.
of our social media stuff. So let's
We were
do
so
this.
excited to
Oh my
chat.
gosh. We were so excited. So let's do this. Let's do our social media.
You want to take like a commercial break, and then I can go ahead and chat with us about like all our social media.
Yeah,
and
so we're
going
gonna
on.
do everything back to back. Nick's gonna talk social medias. I'm gonna tell you about all the other shows on our podcast, and we're gonna jump into a commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
Hey, if you're interested in more Star Wars info, want to chat, or even want to send us some Star Wars drink recipes, please be sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms. You can catch us on Instagram and Facebook at Bantha Milk Podcast, Twitter at Bantha Milk. You can email us at banthamilkpodcast@gmail.com, or even check out our website, banthamilkpodcast.com.
And don't forget to check out our sister podcast over at the Ears Up Network. Our friends over at Ears Up help us a whole lot, so give them and their many shows a listen. Their shows include Ears Up in Depth, The Supreme Resort, and Scraping the Vault. Also be sure to check out their Patreon at patreon.com/ears with a Z up. For as little as $2 a month, you can help support our show. Any donations sent their way directly help us here at Bantha Milk Podcast and comes with great perks. So please check them out today.
And make sure you check out our Facebook group
Yes.
as well, right? Sacred Jedi Texts,
Sacred Jedi Texts.
Facebook.com/Sacred Jedi Texts.
Let's go to a commercial, and then we'll be right back. We'll talk about the rest of Matrix, and then back to Book of Boba Fett. And we're back.
What a message!
I definitely think I'm gonna get that.
I'm gonna buy that
I'm
product.
buying that product.
I might buy a couple of that particular product for my friends and family.
Yes.
I would recommend you all buy that particular product.
I agree.
It's great for right after the holidays.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You can do a lot of different things with it, or to it.
Yep.
Or
about it,
about
or around it, or wear it, or
Yeah.
something, or
so
whatever.
buy that
or talk to
product
somebody
today.
about it. Yes.
If you have any questions about that product, ask someone else. Anyway,
all
we
right,
were
so-
mentioning the Matrix. So what did you think of the new Matrix?
So, spoiler: the new Matrix.
If you haven't watched the new Matrix, we're not gonna be dropping too much knowledge on the
No.
plot here, but just some general.
Yeah, the
thoughts.
beginning was a little weird to me because I was like, wait, what did I forget from watching 1, 2, and 3? I remember like 2 and 3 were drastically different than 1.
Yes.
So then I'm watching the beginning of the new one, and I'm like, did I miss something? Do I have to go back? But then it explains itself
Right.
later, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it was good. It was okay. I know a lot of people were like, it was bad. It's funny because they released it on HBO Max, HBO Max, and in the theaters.
Right.
And my son was telling me that Sing 2 made more money in the theaters than The Matrix did.
That doesn't shock me.
Which doesn't shock me. Well, I mean, they wound up splitting how much they were going to make by putting it in,
Right, on HBO Go.
on HBO Go.
Max, whatever.
Max, yeah. And so I watched it opening weekend on HBO Max, and I was like, lucky for me, my son works at a movie theater, so I got the hookup.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, well, if I like it, I'll go watch it.
You didn't go watch it.
I didn't go watch it. I didn't go to the movie
That's
theater.
fair.
What
Yeah.
did you think?
No, I get that. It was good. It was interesting. It was a little self-congratulatory. I mean, it was very self-referential. The whole
Yeah.
like Warner Brothers thing and like, oh, we need you to make our sequel. It was like I get it. You're making a joke about yourself.
Yeah.
But I don't know. At the end, when it was done, I just kind of looked back at it and went, "Do we really need that?"
Yeah, like that happened.
Like there were 3 Matrix movies. It was a trilogy. It had a very clear end.
Right.
Now we've just got this extra one tacked on.
Yes.
And it's like, all right, so what? Are we back to the Matrix? Is this? Or do we
Yeah,
have,
yeah. Are we back in it again? Are we just
and honestly, I
starting
was a
all
little
over
confused
again?
anyway, because I don't think they really explained like why the Matrix was still around all that well. Because like for my thought, I guess I was like, well, didn't they stop the Matrix? Like,
Right. I thought they like won and destroyed it or whatever at the end of the third one. But once again, maybe because it was 25 years later, everybody forgot what actually happened in the Matrix.
maybe.
So I don't know. All right. So there's a couple comments.
Yeah. So Avengers Hockey says the translator didn't feel right.
Okay. He says it didn't feel right to him. Maybe because there was so much what species is
Ithorian.
he? Ithorian noise going on at the same time.
Right.
So it almost felt like I could see how it would almost feel like you're hearing background noise on top of the basic. So I can see how maybe that doesn't work. And then I didn't like what he said here about he liked the yellow Star Wars subtitles better. So I don't know how much you noticed when we watched it together, because since we had the full subtitles on.
Right.
When they went to the Hutts were speaking, they had it written in yellow,
right.
just like they did in Throwback to Return of the Jedi. So
right.
they had the throwback subtitles on, but then for all the rest of it, we were watching it in regular subtitles. So it was a little. If you were paying attention that much to the subtitles, you would have noticed.
I did not.
Or if you didn't have the regular subtitles on, you would have noticed the yellow subtitles a lot better.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
I didn't even notice that.
But yeah.
But now that you're mentioning, I am remembering when the Hutts spoke, and I'm remembering that yellow text.
Yeah, so there was the yellow and the same font that they had in the original subtitles and stuff. So that was cool. There was a whole bunch of throwbacks.
Yes.
A whole bunch of throwbacks to Return of the Jedi.
That's the big thing, right? With Mando, with Book of Boba Fett, there's been a lot of that.
Yeah. So that so that's what's going on there. So
they have their little meeting with the mayor.
They have their meeting with the mayor.
They say, Mr. Mayor, we
Mr. Mayor.
we think that we might have a slight problem.
Yeah. You sent bad guys to kill us.
Yeah, and he's like, let's kill that guy. And they kill him.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Very quickly. So that way the guy couldn't talk anymore and spill any more beans, and then he could deny everything. Deny.
He also mentioned that they're not allowed to operate outside of Hutt space.
Right.
Which I guess because now Jabba doesn't run the place, it makes it not Hutt space anymore.
Right. It's no longer Hutt space.
Interesting loophole.
Yes, until we get to the second half of the
Until
episode.
Literally like 15 seconds later. When
we find out that apparently the Hutts show up and they say that you're still in Hutt space.
Yeah, and they have a whole electronic tablet to prove it.
Yep.
Yeah.
They brought their own
scene
iPad.
Was just really funny. We're jumping ahead like we always do.
We do.
But
we didn't jump too far ahead.
No, it's just right next.
Yeah. Well, except for when they go to the sanctuary to the
Garza's sanctuary.
Garza's sanctuary.
Is? Because the mayor tells them to.
Yes. It wasn't me. You should check the people who are working for you.
Yeah.
They are the ones that actually want to kill you, not me.
No.
I'm a good guy, so much so I'm going to give you this money
here's your
for
tip,
bringing in this bad guy.
I'm not a bounty hunter. Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Like, literally, that's what you are.
That's
you
what you
have
are.
been.
That's how you're known as a bounty hunter. You're still a bounty hunter. So they go to Garza's Fwip's place, and did you realize that that's Jennifer Beals, who was Flashdance?
No.
Yes,
I did not
that's
realize
Flashdance.
That. All right.
So I know you're a little young to know what Flashdance was.
It's okay.
I'm sure you know what the movie was. But, so she was the girl in Flashdance.
Rock on.
So good for her.
Still doing work.
Still doing work. Yeah. So, and then there's a couple other species, more throwback species. The little rat face guy that we saw in the first A New Hope when Luke Skywalker first goes into the bar. The rat face guy is in there. We see the droid once again from Disney. Disney's got to throw their droid in there from Star Wars and Star Tours and now and whatever. So DJ RX is all in there. And then we go to the part that we were just about to talk about, the Hutts.
Yeah, right. So they basically say that the girl at Garza's says the twins have laid claim to Jabba's palace, and I guess now the twins. I think the twins are not new. Those are characters that have been around.
Yes.
And it is cool because in live action we've only ever seen one Hutt.
We've only seen Jabba.
But
there's a whole consortium of Hutts.
It's a whole thing, right?
It's a whole thing.
And they even mention the word families today. So, like, they're leaning heavily into crime families. And, like, it's not just syndicates, it's families.
Yes.
So, like, the Hutts, it was their brother. Jabba was their brother. And it's these two. I didn't catch their names. Did you manage to catch their names, these new Hutts?
Nikos, let's see. Nikos are a strong reputation in the Book of Boba. The poor, they're the slaves. Gareth, Boba Hutts will be preceded with two debauchery Hutts.
The twins.
The twins. No, I don't know.
Okay.
It's
well,
not
either way,
in
the
these
twins
notes
show
that
up.
I wrote down, but the twins.
They're carried by a whole bunch of people on their litter, and it's literally bowing in the middle.
Yes.
And they're like, "Hey, bro, Thanks for keeping the seat warm for us.
Yeah.
But you can leave now.
You can leave now. We're in charge here. So I was actually working on a new spotlight dance about Hutts. So I did do some research on Hutts leading up before this even started.
Okay.
So like you said, there is a whole crime family. And what wound up happening was Jabba wound up being the most powerful of all of the Hutts. There are other Hutts throughout the galaxy that are in charge of their little regime, their little areas and stuff like that. But Jabba is like the Godfather. I make an offer you cannot refuse. See, that's like the Godfather.
And that's interesting too, because they literally when they left, Fennec was like, "They're Hutts. If you want to kill them, you'll have to ask for permission."
Yeah,
which is just like you think about Goodfellas.
It's
when
like
you
just
got
like
a made
Goodfellas,
man,
yeah.
and like you killed a made man. You can't do that.
You can't kill a made man, so you're not gonna be able to kill these Hutts because they're a made man.
Wow.
So they're
and they have an evil Wookiee.
They have an evil Wookiee,
which we've never seen an evil Wookiee before on live action.
No, but he's from the comics.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a pretty clearly a like, I don't know. I watched that and I went, I don't know what Wookiee that is, but this isn't some random Wookiee, because they clearly said, I'm not some sleeping Trandoshan guard. So like, this is a Wookiee that has like a reputation.
Yes.
And has done stuff.
Yes.
So did you catch his name?
Yes, I did. I'm sorry. I was trying to find the names of the twins when you were talking about the people carrying them.
Right. And you were getting all the.
So it just made me laugh when we watched it. I was like, yeah, they can't hold up those two. There was like 8 people holding up that giant metal barge with, like you said, it was bowing in the middle. You saw them like straining, but even still, there's thousands and thousands of pounds between the two of them. And then the metal on top of it. No way. So, and then did you see the little Jabba's feeding little glass jar for his snacks?
Yes,
they had that on there.
That
as
same
well.
exact thing. Like
the same exact thing.
Tank.
Yeah, the little tank. So the Wookiee, his name is Black Kirstans, Krrsantan, Kirstans, and he was a Wookiee that bounty hunter asked along to intimidate Boba Fett, and he's no newcomer to the Star Wars franchise. The Wookiee in question is Black Kirsten, who appeared frequently throughout the Darth Vader and Dr. Alpha comic books, and whose reputation more than matches his fearsome aura.
That was me. My bad.
I was like, what just happened?
Yeah, so the Dr. Aphra comics are a newer line of comics. It kind of follows this almost archaeologist who Darth Vader becomes buddies with. Not really buddies, but they travel around with each other, and they like do missions together and stuff. So so that's tying in some of the current gen like TV stuff with some of the other forms of media that's coming out, which is always excellent.
He apparently was very bad, got kicked off of the Wookiee planet, or instead of when they were coming to enslave the Wookiees, he instead said that he would, instead of being enslaved, he would become a gladiator, which is what Boba Fett made a reference to. He's no gladiator of some sort, whatever. So he earned his freedom by being a gladiator and gladiator battles and stuff like that and whatever. And then somehow with that then became a bounty hunter and earned his freedom from slavery, from Wookiee slavery, by becoming a bounty hunter and a very well-known gladiator as well. And in some of the books and some of the comic books, he and Boba Fett actually did missions together.
Right, so they are no
strangers to each other.
Right.
Yeah, so it was interesting. That's why Boba Fett said a couple of things to him that he knew. He's like, yo, I know you.
Yep.
So that was that little guy there. So I'm sure we're going to see more of him because...
Yeah, I would say so.
And, I mean, also, since he is another bounty hunter, maybe we'll see him in other of our storylines.
That's true.
Other shows that are coming out soon.
And he did work for Jabba, so maybe at the end of this, he'll wind up working for Boba.
Yeah, he could.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. So we got that.
But that was really the end of our current storyline.
Right.
Like that kind of ended their their like halfway point, and they said, "All right, now let's go travel back in time."
Back in time.
Some Huey Lewis in the news.
Yeah, they pulled out the DeLorean.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
They gunned it to 88.
88.
And now they and Doc Brown are chilling and getting ready for the Enchantment Under the Sea dance.
That's what they're doing. And Marty Boba Fett is avoiding his mom because his mom keeps trying to make out
trying
with
to
him.
hit on him.
She's hitting on him, and it's kind of.
I wonder who Boba Fett's mom is.
I don't know.
I guess one of the Genosians.
Must be
who engineered him.
Yeah, got to be an engineered Genosian.
Right.
Yeah, because it would
These are
actually
the
be who is
questions.
Jango Fett's mom. Because
Right.
since he's a clone of Jango Fett,
He would be
Boba Fett's mom would be Jango Fett's mom, which would also then be his grandmom. Also,
It's really confusing,
cloning is very confusing.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Cloning is a
Cloning.
complicated profession. I will tell you that. So
then-
we travel back in time,
So
back
why
to
does
Sand People time.
he just goes into the back to tank just because it's nighttime? I guess like there wasn't a reason for it this time.
I'm guessing because again, after that first fight, they dump him in that back to tank. After he really didn't take that much of a beating, so my guess is something's wrong with him.
Yeah.
like either from the Sarlacc or else something we haven't seen yet.
Right.
Where he needs to nightly be put in that back because obviously I don't think it's happened yet because he's living in Tatooine and he doesn't need that then. So my guess is something happens to him between. I bet we'll see it maybe at the end of this season, or else at some point. Where we'll know, oh, that's why he has to do this back to thing because he's sick or he's got this or that.
Yeah.
Maybe it has something to do with the cloning process. Maybe he's like, maybe for whatever. Because we do keep getting these shots.
Shats. Sorry.
These shots of Genosis and stuff like that. So maybe
Yeah.
we'll get some info about like the cloning process and how his was. We know his is like unaltered, but we don't know what that really means. So I
Right.
don't know. We'll see something happen.
Yeah.
But obviously, we know whenever he goes in the back to tank, it's time for Boba Fett happy fun times and
Right, and
reminiscing.
reliving his youth and all his good
Yeah.
times there. And it was interesting this time when he went back in time, it had like a little blue hue
Blue hue.
to really make sure you knew that this is now the past.
Yes, we are not current here.
We're not current.
In case you couldn't tell by the fact that he's not wearing his armor.
Yes.
But yeah, we pop back in time, and episode 1, we learn that he got out of the Sarlacc, and he's starting to kind of make friends with the Tuskens. Episode 2, as we were expecting, starts to deepen that relationship, and we see that he's like begun to help them with like just living, and he's kind of being accepted as one of them. And then like this sand train comes by.
Yeah. So this is very Native American
Sure, yeah.
theme here. Very tribal, very Native American, very white man coming and
Cowboys versus
Cowboys
Indians sort
versus
of a thing,
Indians.
yeah.
And even like cowboys living with the Indians type of thing.
Sure. It reminds me of some of the episodes from Mandalorian where it was, him going in and like training the town.
Yeah,
to-
yeah. It was a very repetitive to that. Like
Yeah.
it was like, oh, we saw this before with the last time that
Yep.
we were on Tatooine.
Yep.
So now he's being trained in the ways of the Tuskens.
Yep.
So he's living amongst them and he's learning their ways.
He's learning how they fight, using their gaffy sticks and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
And then the Wild West train, like you said, the Wild West train just comes
You
through.
think that's on a track?
There's no track,
I didn't see
but
a
it
track,
had to
but
go
it's
straight.
sand,
Yeah,
so
it's
maybe
sand,
like
yeah.
it's under the sand, but
So-
like you said, maybe it's under because like it wasn't turning or anything.
No,
it was just
yeah.
going straight.
Just going straight. So this train comes through just like the Wild Wild West and
and just starts shooting
just
everyone
starts
up.
shooting everybody.
That poor Bantha gets blown away.
Blown away.
Two Banthas this episode just got killed for
just
no
got
reason.
killed for no reason, just
Like-
because they're big and slow.
There's a giant train. When it comes. Maybe hide your Bantha when that
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, like they do show later on the whole herd of banthas just walking through the sand. So obviously it's like when the buffalo used to roam wild, and you could just go get another one. But it's a lot of. I'm sure it's got to be a lot of process to try and domesticate them. So why not take better care of your bantha?
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I don't
Spade and neuter your banthas already.
right.
Take care of
Please.
them. Please, spade and neuter your banthas. So the train comes through, starts shooting everybody up, killing people left and right. It was interesting. You've always just thought of the Tusken Raiders as the bad guys.
Sure.
Now they're humanizing them. Now you're actually seeing them as an actual species and an actual way of life and whatever. And you're like, oh, they're not necessarily the bad guys. They're just doing things differently than what we do, you know?
Yeah, and they've been doing that since Mando. Since
Yeah.
The Mandalorian, they've been trying to like instill in us this reverence for the Sand People as, like natives to the land, as opposed to like these savages that we were kind of told they were.
That's
in
what
the
they
70s.
were. Yeah,
and
that's
I think that's kind of a broader representation of how we view things.
Yeah.
In general.
In
anyway.
general now, yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool how they did the Sand People civilization and the Sand People training.
Yeah.
Because they show you throughout this episode that like we see them as barbaric, but like they're the same as a lot of other things we've seen so far. Like the end scene with the gaffy stick.
Yep.
How is that any different than a Jedi making their lightsaber?
Exactly. Yeah, making your own lightsaber.
Yeah.
You have to earn your
piece
of
acid branch,
Yeah.
your trip
Your
balls
trippy-
off, and then go find the random acid tree
that one
from
tree
the gecko.
that's in the desert somewhere.
But we'll get to that.
Yes, we'll get to that.
But before that, we have the train scene, and people die, and Sand People die, and Banthas die, and Boba's like, "All right, well, I'm gonna stop this."
Yeah. Did you see when one more thing was buried under the sand, and then the wart, the little bug, the animal that was like buried under the sand when they were digging things out and started to run away. And
Yes,
they
and
were
the dog, they chased it, right?
They chased it. The dogs. I love the Moffats. They're making them like the cutest dogs ever with
Isn't it
giant
massive?
fangs. Massive, yeah,
That's it,
massive.
yeah.
They're like, oh, he's such a cute puppy, but then he's got these giant fangs and whatever.
Yeah, and they're laying down and they're so cute. And when they start to growl, and I have a big dog.
Yeah.
But like that growl, the tongue is all forked and starts, and it's like, wow, that's scary.
Yeah,
like
you're
you're
like,
cute. I
oh.
want to pet you, and I'm terrified.
And I'm yeah, you're terrifying, but I still want to go pet you because when you're sleeping, you're the cutest little thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Until they rip
I'd be
your
friends
arm
with a
off.
massive. I think you would be too, Rob. I think you would
yes.
have foster massives.
We would have foster masses.
Sherry
That come-
would be like, oh, but look.
Look
at it, it's so
look
cute.
at him. He was locked in a cage. We got to take care of him. Okay, here we
And
go.
then your mastiffs would
Yeah.
have to, it's a whole thing.
They wouldn't get along with my two dogs and my
right.
whatever. So it's a whole thing. But anyway, yes.
So
then
Boba
they-
says, "I'm gonna go save the day," and
yes.
it's early in the season. It's early in everything, so I don't want to like judge things, but it almost feels to me, and I want to make sure they don't whitewash Boba Fett. Like Boba Fett's not a good guy. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Correct.
and I like they're.
Sorry.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm
they're
trying to get something ready for you.
they're treading a
because-
very fine line between like making him too much of a good guy.
Yes.
Now they are like going with the I'm the daimyo and you owe me money and I should
Right.
kill you and stuff. So, but I haven't really seen Boba Fett be a criminal yet. I've seen him demand money and defend himself, but I don't want him to be a good guy. Like I like that they're going the honor route and how he's like
Right.
He's
he's
learning.
growing.
Yeah.
He's a new Boba Fett.
Right. But
Because he's seen how the Sand People have been treated. He's seen that the Sand People are actual real people, not just this evil whatever.
right.
He knows how the Fett Jabba the Hutt ruled things horribly. He sees how it relayed on. It fell down on everything else.
Right.
And so he wants to be a good ruler. But I have a feeling we're still going to see a lot of bad Boba Fett in here.
Right.
But I also think that maybe this is an evolution of Boba Fett. Like I said, I don't want to be a good guy.
Right.
I don't want to be a good guy at all. But if he can be a slightly kinder and gentler Boba Fett to those that deserve to be treated kinder
Right.
and gentler, but then if you cross him, he kills you, I'm
dig
okay with that.
That makes sense to me for his character.
For his character,
But for his
yeah.
as a character, for all these however many years we've known him, if he like makes this 180 and is just like I'm a good guy
Yeah.
now, hooray! It's just
Yeah,
not
I think
gonna work
I think
for
at the end of the season, the flashbacks are going to get to the point where we see why he's a kinder,
Sure.
gentler one now.
Right.
But right now we're just seeing that he's a little bit nicer. But like we see when he goes and says, I'm going to take care of things for you.
He does.
He goes off, and he's not a kinder, gentler Boba Fett.
It's not like he goes into that bar and
what
he's
that
like,
bar
guys,
was?
you should stop. What was that bar?
I'll let you know. Wait, hold on.
He's been getting ready for
I
this.
was getting ready for this. This is the big moment here.
Take these two over to the garage, will you? I want them cleaned up for dinner.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
You can waste time with your friends when you're children.
Was it Tashi Station?
It was Tashi Station.
Wow.
That was a throwback to Tashi Station. Apparently, in the 1977 A New Hope, there was a cut scene where Luke actually goes to Tashi Station.
Right.
And more spoiler alert, fast forwarding a little bit inside of Tashi Station, those two people that were in there,
Right.
Luke spoke to them in 1977. Their whole scene got cut. So it was an homage to those two actors and to those two characters.
Interesting.
So those people were in Tashi Station 40 years ago.
Wow, they look great.
Yeah, they look great now, don't they? So yeah. So going back to Boba being a BA, he walks in the Tashi Station and sees these thugs in here, and doesn't ask questions. Doesn't even say, "Hey, stop it,
Cut it out.
cut it out."
Just goes right at him.
Just goes right at him. Just
And,
starts beating the crap out of him.
And as opposed to the last Boba Fett fight we saw where he was without his armor, clearly he's been working with the Sand People, and he dealt some damage.
He dealt some damage.
I remember there's one part where he just grabs the guy by the throat, and he has this like evil
The
look.
evil look on his face,
And then
yeah.
he throws him through the glass. And it's like, all right, Boba, I see you.
Yep. So he goes and he breaks up Tashi Station. Come on, man.
Yep. And so and then the greatest thing is when he's done with the fight, he like just grabs a glass and just like
Just drinks it.
and then just leaves.
And then
He
leaves.
just walks out and
Yeah.
he ties some rope to these sand speeders and just drags them across
Just drags
the
him.
desert. What a great efficient way to tow a vehicle.
He was like,
just some rope.
I'm just going to grab this worn out rope and just tow some speeders.
I was hoping by the time he got there, they were just like dragging
They were
behind him.
upside down and just flopping around and stuff. Now, it looked to me, he was flying one, and it looked like he was dragging two other ones.
Right.
But later on in
There were
another
several.
scene, there were several suddenly. There was at least 4 or 5 of them later on. So,
Yep.
But you couldn't see the train of speeders behind him. It looked like he was only dragging 2 of them.
And then they decided, let's be like the Jawas and
Yeah.
destroy these things that he got us. It is, I don't think Tamura Morrison is the greatest actor in the world. Occasionally when he's acting, I'm like, well, this isn't, they chose Tamura Morrison for this role because he was Jango Fett.
He was Jango Fett. And he did all the voices of all the
Right.
clones. So
And he does a good job, but I don't think he's a great actor. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he's not winning any Oscars.
so occasionally, like he'll deliver a line, and you're just kind of like, that wasn't super believable, but he's Boba Fett.
he's Boba Fett.
And you don't need necessarily the most ridiculous acting chops to play a
bounty hunter. Mandalorian bounty hunter. Yeah.
But either way, they steal these things and they go into a 1980s training montage. I need a hero. And
just see Rocky with some
Yes.
giant logs over his shoulders in Alaska, or not Alaska, in Siberia.
Yep.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. And I liked
jumping between the two
jumping
speeders.
between the speeders and find out that it's not as easy as Luke Skywalker made it look.
No. And again, this is all very, like you had mentioned earlier, Western sort of feeling, like that training of how to defend, and like jumping between speeders is literally just jumping between horses.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
is trying to stop a train. Like this is very
Going
Western.
back to typical westerns of the hero rolls into town and teaches the town how to fight against the bad guys, and now they're fighting against the train, the evil train that goes through. The train is the bad guys and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we get a whole action sequence of train. Train.
The train
action.
sequence was good.
It
I
was
liked
cool.
it. It was
Yeah.
very cool.
We get some pretty satisfying crunches when like some people like fall off the train and get slammed by the train.
Slammed and roll underneath the train. Roll under the train.
That's gonna leave a mark.
They were the Pike Syndicate. Did you?
Was that the Pike
recognize
Syndicate?
Yeah.
All right.
I recognized the masks, and I was like, "Oh, I know them."
Oh,
from
you know
somewhere.
what? Yeah, now that you're mentioning it's the same people who are on Corellia, right?
Yep.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
And it's interesting because they, when they were in The cartoon version, they had much longer necks, and their heads were just a little bit larger.
Right.
In this, you could see that they still had the large heads when they took their mask off. But in the cartoon version, longer necks, bigger heads.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how they said, you know what, we're going to keep it close, but we're not going to go to that full extreme.
Well, it's so easy to make, alien species look outlandish and interesting on cartoons.
Yeah.
But like it was the same thing with Ahsoka with her Leku and stuff.
Leku,
like
yeah.
people were annoyed that it wasn't
the
as
same
big,
length.
and it's like, well, she's got to wear this and she's got to fight in it. All right, it was a cartoon.
It was easy.
They did what they could to make it work, and it looks great. Just relax, nerd.
Yeah, settle down. That it's 6 inches shorter. It doesn't matter because
the Leku on a 35-year-old.
She should be this much older now. Her Leku should be longer, and blah blah blah. Shut up.
It's a show.
It's a show.
Listen, we're pretty nerdy, and we know Star Wars fans are persnickety about these things.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, just enjoy.
Yes, just enjoy this show.
But anyway, they have their train sequence. They manage to get up on top. They're making their way through. The really like crazy sand person hops in and does all the crazy stuff inside. And just
the
pulls
woman,
people down.
I like the one scene where you see the Pike guy sticking his head up out of the hatch. Suddenly, he disappears. Then the
other two
the
behind him.
Ithorian shows up. Or not the Ithorian. The sand person pops her head up. She looks around. And then she sees that there's two more behind them.
She's down.
And then suddenly, whoop,
Down.
whoop.
Down. It's almost vaudevillian. It's almost like a Three Stooges.
It was like a Three
sort of
Stooges,
sketch.
yeah.
But they managed to kill everyone, and then they realize there's one person left, the droid that's captaining the ship, and that guy was funny, man.
That droid was funny. Now that I could tell was very Tim Burton Nightmare Before Christmas. Stop motion animation.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
one looked really stop motion animation.
Yep.
Last week, we were saying how some people were saying the 6-armed, 4-armed, 2-legged monster thing looked stop motion animation.
Yeah,
to us,
Chris mentioned, and he actually showed me a picture of it later, and I can't believe how close it is. That it looked like the original Kraken from the original. It was with Liam Neeson later on. Something about the Titans or
Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans, right?
Yes.
So the original
Yes.
one from like the 60s or something.
Yeah.
If you look up an image of the Kraken Attack of the Titans. Is it called Attack of the Titans?
Or Clash of the
Clash
Titans?
of the Titans. Clash of the Titans. Right? So original. Yeah, so if you take a look at
I can.
like
yeah.
this guy right here,
Yep.
it definitely had this sort of a vibe here.
Yes.
For those of you
Yeah,
online,
his head
see.
looks just like it, almost identical. And it's also because George Lucas was a big fan of Clash of the Titans, and that's what he I don't want to say based Star Wars off of, but it gave him a lot of ideas for creatures and stuff like that in Star Wars.
Sure.
So another throwback to George Lucas's big fan of that. So I can see how it would look a lot like that.
And so we have this weird little bug-like thing who's pulling all the levers and trying to just blow the engine out to get away.
Yeah, just trying to get as fast as he could, get
And
out
then
of
he
there
says,
as fast as he can.
Abandon ship.
Yeah.
He just pieces out.
He just pieces out. He's like, all right, see you. So then they crash. Oh, I did like all the people who are on top of the train all fall off, roll underneath or whatever. When Boba Fett falls off, he just happens to be at the right spot
where he hits
there's
the
wings.
one little wing. Yep.
Yeah, the
I
one
noticed the
little
same
wing.
thing. There's at least four times throughout this episode where in my mind I went, well, there's the plot armor. Like, Boba's not allowed to die. We know
Right,
that.
we can't-
And there it is right
and
there.
there it is, yeah.
Yeah, so if there's one thing that is stronger than Beskar, it is plot armor.
It's plot armor, yes.
and our boy Boba has it in spades.
He does.
Oh,
He
boy.
totally does. He was safe by a mile because of that one little wing every time. So that was made me laugh. And then he breaks through the window, even though the little droid opened the window to pop his head out. He had to break the other window to get back in. So
Looks better on screen.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Stop it!" And the droid was like,
Nah.
"See ya, I'm out of
I'm
here."
good.
And then
I'm trying to remember, how does he stop it again?
Leverage.
He just managed to pull the thing back by adding torque to that.
Yes.
That's right, with his
so,
gaffy stick.
So he puts his gaffy stick in the thing because, of course, the gears are too hard to break. The brake is too hard to pull by hand. So, right before the train falls off the cliff, they've managed to break it. So he uses his gaffy stick for extra leverage. So the further away you are, the better leverage you can get. There's a little
that's science
for you
That's
right there.
Physics.
So he manages to stop it, and then the engine blows up, and then the train crashes into the sand.
Yes, which is because literally the whole time I'm thinking, are they going to show us a big cliff that they're going to drive off of? Because that would be so cliche.
That would be so cliche.
And they didn't, thankfully.
They did not.
But I was like
no
literally
cliff.
the whole time waiting for them. Like they're going to show us a cliff.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like right before they fall up, but they didn't. Thankfully.
They didn't.
So the train crashes, and apparently there are survivors.
There were survivors,
and they just huddle them all out, and it's like this beginning of Boba's like ascendancy to the Godfather throne. You know, it's like when people start initially kissing his ring. Like the last scene of the Godfather Part 1, where like, you know, Michael has killed the people. He comes back, and all of a sudden they're all just kind of like paying homage to him as the Godfather.
As the Godfather now, yeah.
This is kind of the vibe I get.
Yeah,
from this scene.
he's sitting on the bale, which it almost like his new seat, his new throne.
Right.
The Tuskens are behind him because he's the only one that can speak Basic.
Right.
And luckily the Pikes also speak Basic.
Which is funny because in the closed captioning it said in English.
In English.
And I would just say it's not English, it's
not
Basic.
English, it's
whatever.
Basic. Yeah. So he's talking, and you know, he's like, "Who's the leader?" And then the leader goes, "I am." And you know, he's like, "Well, my battery is very low. It's not plugged all the way in.
Oh no,
it's out over here." Okay, now we're plugged in. Now we're good. He was like, once again, him being a nice guy, we're gonna let you live. Make sure you know this, that we're being nice. We're letting you live. You're going to pay to the Tuskens every time you come through the Dune Sea.
Right.
Which they also make reference, and when he goes on his peyote trip. Peyote trip. Yeah, when he goes on his little trip, the Dune Sea apparently years and years ago actually was water before.
Right. Yeah. Oceans. They said there were oceans that dried up.
Yeah, that all dried up. So we find out that that Tatooine wasn't always just a sand planet. That it was at one point had water and everything on it.
Yep.
And he does make a nice line. He uses a line to them where he tells them to walk west or east.
Follow the of the suns or whatever.
Follow the suns. Walk in single file line.
Right. To hide your numbers.
To hide your numbers. Which. Like
why?
The Tuskens do that to hide their numbers, but why would we? You have to walk in single file. You're not hiding your numbers. Who cares?
I guess Boba whatever. Just trying to like flex.
Yeah, he's
you're gonna walk in single file.
You're gonna walk.
Hey, I said single file.
Get back in line.
Who's the line leader? Stop at the end of the hall, please.
Do we need a rope? Do you guys all need to hold on to a rope?
And then they're like, "But we'll die." And he's like, "No, I'll give you all a black melon." Which now I learned that they're called black melons.
Black melons.
And it does say that apparently. Ben Kenobi once commented that the milk tastes horrible. So apparently the black melon's not the best drink in the world.
No.
But, you know, when
what's his name? The fake Boba Fett from Mandalorian, he didn't like the taste of it either. No, not Timothy Oliphant's character.
That's all.
Yeah.
What's his name from The Office?
Oh, what was his name in The Office?
It's going to annoy me. I should know this.
He went out on one date with Pam and didn't go out again because she was boring.
Oh, it's Danny Cordray.
Danny Cordray,
that's right. Anyway, so he saves the day, and then the sand people think, well, you know, we live in a desert.
Right.
Might as well waste all of this water.
Yeah. What was that? Like, I don't care how
excited, how happy,
how naive you are to Western ways.
You know you live in a desert.
Right. You could have unscrewed it without breaking it, or even, like, I'm sure there's a spigot inside.
And I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive I saw one of them trying to catch water in a tambourine.
Yes.
Like, literally,
yes.
They're all putting, like, things up to this thing. I'm pretty sure one of them had a tambourine.
The one had the gas tank. It looked like a gas tank that they threw out the window earlier. He's holding that up. I'm sure the lid was still on it. Like, why break the giant water tank? Oh, that annoyed me to no end. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't care how. And then they're like celebrating. They're dancing in the water. Like, you know how hard it is to get water in a desert. Why are you wasting it? Why are you ruining it?
Yeah,
you got like 2 gallons and you washed 5,000 gallons out.
Literally. Yeah, it was wasteful.
Yeah, it was very wasteful.
Not the most eco-friendly, the Tuskens. But because of this great service that he did to them, they decided, you're one of us now.
You're one of us.
So they start draping him in Tusken robes, and that robe we see him in is pretty clearly the robes we see him in, when we're introduced to him in The Mandalorian.
Yes.
So it is cool to see that, like, the version of him we see in The Mandalorian is what he's becoming.
Yes.
And then they give him, or is that, have they given him the peyote yet?
They
already gave him the peyote.
They gave him the peyote first.
In form of lizard.
In form of lizards up your nose, which is
I think I ate it.
Yeah. Oh. So there was a scene in one of the Star Treks, the movies, where they put this bug in a helmet, the bad guy. It was Search for Khan, the guy who was in
Wrath of Khan?
Wrath of Khan, yes. So he puts this giant, like an earwig bug, know what it is? Puts a giant earwig bug in this helmet and puts the helmet on his captor. And the guy's like, no. And you see the bug go around his face, and then it goes into his ear.
Right.
This reminded me of that. I was like, oh, look, now they're stealing from Star Trek also.
See, it reminded me of 2 things. Number 1, it reminded me of the Babel fish from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Okay.
I don't know if you've read that, but the Babel fish was literally a fish you put in your ear.
Okay.
And it lived off of your thoughts like it was a parasite.
Okay.
And by having the Babel fish in your ear, you could understand every language.
Oh, very cool.
The Tower of Babel fish. Anyway, it also reminded me of Animorphs. I don't know if you ever heard of Animorphs. When I was a kid in the 90s, that was a big kids show and kids book series. And the bad guys in that show were called the Yeerks.
Okay.
They were this alien species who were actually little worm type things.
Okay.
That crawled into your brain and took over your mind.
Oh.
And so like their whole thing was they'd crawl into your brain, they'd take over, then they were you.
Okay.
And every so often they would have to return to what's called the Yeerk pool.
Okay.
Where they would walk there and they would come out of the ear and drop into the pool to like nourish themselves and jump back in the ear. So that's what it reminded me of. It reminded me a little bit of the Yeerks from Animorphs.
Well, now that you're talking about shoving things up your nose, the one that I can remember is Homer Simpson putting the crayon up his nose.
Yes.
And then becomes a genius.
Obviously.
Or was a genius.
Until
he put the crayon up his nose. When they removed the crayon from his nose again, he realized how smart he was a genius for the whole episode, but then realized that he didn't like being that smart, so then at the end of the episode, he shoved the crayon back up his nose to become Dumb Homer again.
Dumb Homer again.
So, yeah, as we're shoving things... So, let this be a lesson to you, boys and girls listening out there. Do not shove anything in your nose.
Not unless you want a really trippy experience.
A really trippy experience. So, it will either make you super dumb if it's a crayon, or
if it's
a lizard... You're going to go trippy.
You're going to
have a good time. You're going to be Burning Man. And Joshua, I saw Joshua Tree. When he sees the tree, I was like, oh, we're at Joshua Tree now?
But it is interesting, too, because, like, he went on this trip. He walked through the desert, and he saw this tree in the ocean. So, like, clearly this was like, he was back... He was seeing back when there were oceans on Tatooine, sort of a thing.
Or could also go back to his...
Camino. I keep saying Geonosis. It's Camino. I thought the same, but, like, it could go back to that, but he finds a tree.
Yeah.
So clearly this tree had to have existed, even though it wrapped
even though
him
in
up.
Psychosis, it wrapped him up.
It was like holding him, and it was in the middle of the ocean, but he managed to grab a branch from it.
Right.
So we know somewhere in Tatooine there's a tree.
There's a tree.
I bet we're going to see that tree at some point.
They're going to fly past it, and he's going to be like,
dude,
that's the tree.
I know that tree.
But
he drags this giant stump back home, and he's like, all right, I'm back. And then he sneezes out the lizard.
The lizard goes back out his nose, right back into the basket. Thank you.
I thought that was part of the dream, bro.
He's like, well, you really did it to me. Oh, my gosh.
So then they layer him in his cloth, and he looks all sand people-like, and they say, all right, man, it's time to make your lightsaber.
Yep.
Let's go pick your kyber crystal. Let's go, right?
Let's go.
So they walk into this random part of the desert where this dude's just standing amidst his tools. And
yeah, he's got another tent 20 miles away.
This is the part where I thought maybe Tamura Morrison's not the greatest actor because, like, he really oversold the I'm learning thing. Yeah. Because, like, there were a couple times where he's like, he's doing this, and then he goes... And he looks right at him like, am I doing it right?
Is this right? Yes, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, and so those were the moments where I'm like, all right, this isn't the best acting you could possibly.
And you
do.
even said when he comes back from the tree with the stick, you're like, "There's his gaffy stick."
Yep.
You're like, you called it right away. You're like, there it is.
Yeah, and it was pretty obvious, but I liked it. Because
it was
again,
cool.
it tied two different traditions together. We have the Jedi, who are seen as like these heroes, these saviors, these really sophisticated people with a weapon that's more elegant for a more sophisticated age, right? And then we see these sand people as barbarians and stuff, but like we learn that making these gaffy sticks is almost like a religious,
it's the same religious rite of passage,
sacred ritual to them.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because we also saw, like in The Mandalorian, we saw them cleaning their Banthas, like teeth and
with
stuff
it,
with it. So we were all like, "Oh, that's interesting. It's just kind of a tool." But now we learn it's like
it's
like a real thing.
So you really must like your Bantha if you're
using
you're going to use your gaffy stick, your spiritual
stick.
gaffy stick to clean the Bantha's teeth. So yeah.
But it was cool seeing that, and like he became part of the tribe, and in the end they did like their haka sort of a thing.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. Second episode in, I have good feelings. I'm not upset at all.
No.
It's still at that point where I'm not sure what's coming. And I really like that.
And when we looked at it together when we started watching it, we were very impressed to see that it was a supersized episode.
Yes,
it was
52 minutes.
52 minutes.
I think it was 48 minutes.
Yeah,
after
leading up to the credits is about 48 minutes. So it was a nice, and that's what they said from the start that they're going to make the episodes as long as they need to tell the story. Yeah. So I was happy with that. It could have easily been 2 episodes, and we could have had 8-episode season instead of 7-episode season.
Yeah, but I'm glad they didn't stop halfway. They told a full story during this episode. I didn't feel shortchanged at all, for sure. And that brings us to the end of episode 2, right?
That was the end of episode 2.
No, they ended with their little awesome choreographed dance fight around the fire. And we're left to wait for what comes next. My guess is next episode we're going to get a little more from the Hutts. We're gonna learn some more Hutt politics.
So I have a feeling there's gonna be like a 3-way battle.
Okay.
Hutts, him, and the mayor is gonna be.
Yeah, there's more to the mayor than we've seen for sure.
Throwing more stuff.
Because the mayor's all like, "I'm innocent."
Yeah.
He's not innocent.
He's not
for
innocent.
Sure. There's some stuff going on with that dude.
Yeah.
The Hutts are gonna be a problem. We're gonna definitely run into, I think, the same issue that we were talking about of Boba being a good guy versus Boba being the crime boss, because Fennec is kind of leaning into him to be a little less polite
and more crime bossy. Yeah.
So I think that our worries about that are on purpose. I think they're like trying to show us that conflict.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. We have a lot to happen still, and it's cool too because anything can happen because we're in 2 different time periods. So anyone can show up. Like in the current time period, it's feasible that we see Din Djarin or we see Luke or we see any of them. But in the time period before, we don't know. Has the Empire fallen yet?
Right.
We don't know.
We don't know how long he was in this Scarlac pit.
We don't know how long he's been hanging with the Sand People so far yet.
Yeah, because they don't show like day to night. You know, like that training montage could have taken 2 months.
Yep. So for all we know, the Empire is still going, and like maybe the battle for we might even see like mid-season the consequences of the battle for Endor, or maybe not, because again, Outer Rim territories don't see that sort of action like the core worlds would.
The core worlds would, yeah. I will tell you this: we probably will not see Darth Maul.
I would say probably not.
Probably not. Yeah,
pretty darn good
chance.
chance.
I'm pretty sure we're not going to see him.
Yeah, I'd say there's a slim to none chance of that. But either way, we've got a lot more coming at you. And now we are going to be doing this every week. Wednesdays. You can count on us, 8:00 Eastern.
Yep.
We're going to be coming at you with a breakdown. Who knows what's going to happen in this couple weeks? Maybe we'll be here. Maybe we'll be doing it.
It'll be cool to see where this goes and what happens with it and whatever. So I'm excited for it. It was good. It was fun. I liked it.
I liked this episode more than the first one.
Right.
It had a little more development, but again, that first one has to be kind of, in any show, has to be world building and plot setting, and setting the stage. So we'll get more payoff for a lot of the things being set up as we go, I think.
Right. So I'm guessing we're gonna start chapter 3. He's gonna wake up from the back to tank. Oh, by the way, did you notice so far in 2 episodes? He's gotten dressed, and both times he's gotten dressed, somebody has dressed him.
Interesting. I didn't notice it, but now you're mentioning it. I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First he has the robots who dress him, and now in episode 2 when he first puts on the Sand People garb, the people are ceremoniously putting it on for him.
Interesting.
So he has to. He apparently can't dress himself, or he's too cool to dress himself.
I mean, if you had the choice between dressing yourself and having someone dress you, and not having to exert any energy, I'd say
So here's the other thing, and I realize why he didn't get it. Because when we saw him in The Mandalorian, he didn't have it, but. You're walking around in a desert on a planet that has 2 suns.
Yes.
Now you see his skin is getting burned and dry and looking really, really bad.
Sure.
Combination of being in the Scarlet Pit and having the acid destroy your skin and then going out into the sun. Suns, yes. So he finally has more clothes on, which you have to assume the reason the Sand People are fully clothed
is to protect
from the sun. I thought he was going to get a helmet of some sort also.
Yeah, he's got this big bald head.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they figure, let's just give him a hood.
Yeah.
Which he promptly takes down.
Right.
As soon as he steps out into the sun, he's like, all right, that was nice. Look at me, I look awesome. But this is a little hot.
It's a little hot. I'm going to put this down. I'm going to let the sun, I'm going to work on my tan here.
Yeah.
The 2 suns need to. So it's like, okay, knowing me and my ghostly white skin that I have, my complexion here, I walk out in New Jersey in the summertime at noon for an hour. I'm red as a lobster. This guy's on the sands, the desert of Tatooine with 2 suns.
Yeah. And he's still pasty.
How does he not have 3rd-degree sunburn?
Maybe we'll find out. Maybe next episode we'll find out that it turns out Boba Fett has a rare skin condition that reflects sunlight.
Oh,
I don't
very
know.
nice.
It's Star Wars. It could be anything. Or it's the Force.
Maybe it's Bantha milk. Maybe Bantha milk
Maybe.
is also a sunscreen.
Maybe
and he's been pouring Bantha
it's
milk
topical.
on. Yes.
It's just a little bit of this.
There you go.
Twice a day.
Twice a day.
It keeps away the wrinkles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
So you're going to see he's going to start rubbing Bantha milk on. He's going to all the wrinkles are going to disappear.
He's going to look like a newborn clone all over again.
All over again. It'll be awesome. So so there you go. So if you can find any Bantha milk, not blue or green, but from actual Banthas.
That's right. That's the stuff you want.
That's the stuff that you want. And
Perfect.
then it's perfect, great sunscreen
right in the
and a
T-zone.
moisturizer. Yep.
Yeah, right here and here. Just right before bed. Make sure you don't leave it on.
Don't leave it on. Yeah. So
anyway,
we
are done yet another episode.
We sure have.
I think we're in for some fun stuff going forward. You can count on us to be back next week. You can also count on Rob. He's got new stuff coming out because Rob is way more diligent than I am. He might have remembered I mentioned our Bantha Milk reads that I'm planning on. Well, Rob said I'm going to do it anyway, and he's started but without me. So Rob is much more responsible than I am. Rob has begun reading.
2 months ago during our episode, Nick says I'm going to do this next week.
Next week.
So I started reading this book, The Courtship of Princess Leia.
Ooh.
It is from 1994.
So that's an OG.
1993.
That's EU content right there.
This is EU.
Expanded universe.
This is what we consider legends now.
Yes, indeed.
So I read the first 4 chapters so far and did a video and then haven't edited it yet. So tomorrow, Friday, next weekend, this coming weekend, I will edit that and put that up there onto the YouTubes as well. Now, I don't think I'm going to do... It was about 15 minutes that I talked about the first 4 chapters.
Sure.
I think I'm going to put the YouTube segments up in 15-minute chunks, but maybe once I finish the book, then compile them all together into a podcast episode and just have that going out separately rather than 15-minute little podcast episodes. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, whatever works for you. What do you think? That really is what matters.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Yeah.
Right. So how would you like to hear our Bantha Milk Reads content? We're also going to be coming out with some more Bantha Milk Plays content. Maybe not even just some Star Wars games. Could be anything, right?
Could be.
So be on the lookout for that because Rob and I might be We might be home more often
hope
coming up
not.
soon.
I
I really hope
hope
not too, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But before then, let's not count our chickens before they're hatched. We will absolutely be back with episode 3 for the Book of Boba Fett next week.
Yep.
If you have any questions, you want to send us any comments or any Bantha milk recipes, or else you have any just comments about the show. Did we get anything wrong? Did we get anything really right? Make sure you check us out on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Send this to your friends. We know that if you like Star Wars, you have friends that like Star Wars. Well, maybe 1 or 2 friends that like Star Wars. We know,
Yeah, please share it with us.
Share it with them. Let
Yes.
them know. Tell them to share with their friends, and the more the merrier.
And if your friend says he has a gift for you and it's a little lizard inside of a basket, be ready for a really crazy trip.
Maybe cover up your nose.
Cover up your nose.
Or maybe don't. And
Unless
just lean
you want to
into
go
it.
wander into the desert and
Lean
find a
into it,
tree
man.
in the desert in the middle of an ocean somehow. Yeah, go for it. Have fun.
Sounds like a good weekend to me.
Yeah,
Rob.
sounds.
Either way, from all of us here at Bantha Milk Headquarters, we want to make sure you stay safe, stay healthy, and have a delightful one. And, we have spoken.
We have spoken.